So it's supposed to be springtime in the place that I live, but you know it's kind of a cold front coming through, and storms are awesome, aren't they? Whether they change the weather for that season of time, or maybe they just bring a nice little evening shower. You know, one thing I love about the mountains is I love those evening showers that come 5, 6, 7 o'clock when you're in the mountains. You can pretty much count on them. Maybe some of you live in mountain areas and you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't get to experience them too often, but when I do, I really appreciate them and I really love them. You know, storms remind me of life. Maybe they remind you of your life right now, how things are going in a certain direction and happening the way you thought they should happen. You've planned everything out and it's working out just great, and then all of a sudden a storm comes, changes come. Sometimes it's just an evening shower blessing, and sometimes it's a true thunderstorm. Sometimes it's a tornado, sometimes it's a hurricane. It's how life is. Sometimes things just happen out of nowhere. They just kind of show up. You know, the question really isn't about what you do during the storm. The question is more so how you handle the storm. You know, it's not really about whether you panic, whether you stress out, whether you fear, but it's more about, are you prepared? When I was a kid growing up in Oklahoma, we had tornadoes all the time, and you know, it was kind of interesting to watch those clouds gather and see the funnel clouds come. And you know, my dad kind of brought me up as a crazy kid, and we'd actually stand outside and watch them, sometimes drive closer to them and see if we could catch them and get a better glimpse of that awesome power that we call a tornado. But the cool thing was is I never feared. You know, when I was with my dad, I always knew that he was prepared. He never showed any fear, even though I'm sure he had some. He never showed any emotion, but just instead he showed awe and inspiration about how amazing something that powerful can be. That's how I hope you handle storms in your life, that you don't fear, that you don't stress out, that you don't really get yourself concerned over things that don't matter, but instead you stand in awe of how life is. You know, in this time in society, I hear of so many people that are losing their jobs and they can't put food on the table for their family. Then my question is to you and to me, how are we going to react to that? Are we going to allow it to, you know, freak us out and stress us out? Or are we going to allow it to make us stronger? Are we going to wake up every morning knowing that today can be the day that we had in mind? It doesn't have to be the day we settle for, but it can be the day that changes our lives and other lives. Friends, storms are going to come. Just like right now as I'm driving down the road, you know, watching these clouds get fluffier and bigger and more wintry looking. That's how life is. So those days that you sit back and you watch the clouds gather and you watch the darkness come, don't stress out, but instead recognize the power, and even more so recognize the power that lives within you. The power to make that storm something beautiful. And know that there's always a rainbow on the other side of the clouds. Have a good one.